Drywall around the door frame cracked. Unlike the front door, the basement frame was much weaker and soon to fail. The rabbi held up the bottle for a toast. L'chaim. He tipped the bottle, poured out a little, and drank the rest. With an amen, Blakey stepped out of the equipment closet and locked the rabbi in. "What are you doing?" the rabbi objected. "Best if you hide in here. Gonna need to borrow your car, too." Blakey announced it with confidence, despite his face looking otherwise. "The keys are in the glove box," the rabbi politely offered from inside the closet. Blakey wedged some heavy folding tables against the closet door. It wouldn't hold if they knew he was in there, but they weren't really after the rabbi. Blakey readied with the 2 bats as the basement door popped from its frame and crashed down the stairs. It occurred to him in that moment that he should already be dead. He shouldn't still have the strength, but somehow he did. His knee didn't even seem to ache. Something was wrong in him, and for the first time, he liked it. Bony, horrible silhouettes stood in the jagged entrance. The shape in front punctuated the door's demise with a snort, making the thin cloud of drywall dust shift. It stepped forward and bumped its head on the hanging light fixture. When the light swung back, the shape obliterated it with a swat, sending the basement back to mostly darkness. Through the crack in the closet doors, the rabbi watched, terrified. He covered his mouth to hold in any exclamations when the shapes descended into the basement and fanned out around Blakey. They pushed things out of their paths at first, trepidatious of Blakey's new weapons. One decided to test them and lunged at Blakey. The 2 club blows started high above his head. He smashed it with all his might. The shape staggered back, bumping against the closet door, expecting pain. The rabbi was startled and quietly retreated to the back of the closet, tripping over loose sports equipment. Blakey and the other shapes waited for the results of the hit. But when the hit shape rose, shaking the blow off like suds on a wet dog, they all shared the realization that the weapon was impotent. Blakey pivoted for the stairs and beat down the one blocking the way. He was able to get almost all the way up before another caught him by the leg. He threw a bat at the shape on his leg and then gripped the handrail to pull away. Another shape grabbed hold of his other leg. Their grip was painful and frustratingly strong. He gave into helpless panic, flailing, kicking and twisting madly. One leg kicked free. Claws dug into the calf of his trapped leg. Blakey howled at the sudden jolt of pain. Extreme survival rage took over, and he let go of the rail to beat on the shape with all his strength. The blows were relentless, forcing release. Blakey sprang into the hall, grabbed a hall chair and tossed it down at them. He followed it with a couple of planters. He went for anything else as the shapes scrambled to get up the steps. A cabinet appeared in the door with Blakey behind it. With a roar, he hurled it at them down the stairs. There was a rolling crash and it clogged the stairwell. The shapes hissed at him from behind the cabinet in the dark. Quick, something else. He grabbed the fire extinguisher off the wall and emptied it into the stairwell, creating a heavy chemical fog. The canister went down too, for good measure. It hit one of them in the head with a satisfying clunk. There was a pained snarl in response. Blakey's leg then screamed for attention. The pants were shredded and soaked with blood. Adrenaline ebbed and flooded his head with pain. It quivered up through his body and exploded as a fist-clenching bellow at the basement's smoky mouth. There was a chilling chorus of howls in response. Blakey limped away, managing to lock the back fire exit just before a shape caught up. It punched through the small safety glass panel in the door and clawed Blakey's jacket. Blakey hit at the arm with the remaining T-ball bat, but it wouldn't let go. He jerked away with all his strength, tearing his jacket, leaving a memento. Every flex of Blakey's calf brought a fresh zap of pain as he hobbled across the parking lot. The temple's activity van, a plain Chevy cargo van with Temple Bakash Emet stenciled on the side, was thankfully unlocked, and Blakey hopped in, gasping for breath as he found the engine key. When he tried to start the van, it only choked and coughed in failure. Oh, come on. Pumping the gas pedal and turning the key repeatedly, the engine verged on flooding, but it was all he could do. The van was then violently hit from the side, rocking it up off the ground. A hit on the other side sent it back. Shapes hopped on top. The roof caved. The angry metal scraping became deafening. The engine finally turned over with a revved roar, and Blakey shouted in relief. The hood of the van tore up, blocking Blakey's view out the windshield. He could feel and hear the engine being pulled apart like a roasted chicken. Bits of metal and rubber went flying away from the van. A cloud of noxious fumes leaked into the cabin. Blakey coughed and grabbed the coat from the passenger seat and tied it around his mouth. They pushed the van over onto the passenger side, and Blakey tumbled around like an arcade prize. Shapes smashed at the driver's side, now facing up. Blakey shielded his face from the rainfall of glass when they broke the window. The windshield was mostly blocked by the open and bent hood, so one of them tried to wiggle through the driver's window. Blakey beat at its head. With the old club, it would have been dead by the second blow. The aluminum bat only annoyed the beast. Scrunching its face into an irritated scowl, it swatted defensively and retreated out of the window. They jerked open the jammed sliding door, but it would only give 6 inches. They reached for him, tearing at the interior. Blakey swung blindly, trying with all his remaining strength to break their probing, grabbing limbs. Through gritted teeth, he retreated into the back of the van. Blakey was a cornered animal. The scratching and pounding became a cacophony, and his aim failed, hitting more metal than flesh. He had what he felt were final words with the voice. "This might be it for you." "Fine, but I will take a few with me." "Of course you will. And let it be known I didn't quit." It was always known. Blakey took a deep breath and readied himself, but they didn't come for him. Everything stopped. He waited, tense and completely confused.